2 The Redline Productions proudly presents.
Hey there, YouTube. Well, I just couldn't miss this 2012 Dodge Charger SRT-8 SuperBee with 3,000 miles on it. Very attractive car. You can see it says on the fender 392 Hemi. Car also has its 245 4520s, and you can see these beautiful wheels with the Brembo brake package. Vented disc brakes, you can see right there. You can see its interior. Everything is very nice. Look at the design on these seats. But yeah, look at the design of these seats again. They're very nice. Well, smart key is chained up here. Lock, unlock, trunk, push it twice for that to happen, and panic. Of course, there is an old school metal key that will slide out in case of emergencies. Just push button start. Nice startup. You saw the gauge sweep. Well, this SuperBee definitely is a rare find indeed, considering this is that auction that always has cars that are just falling apart. But anyways, again, this is a very nice car, and we'll start off with comfort as usual. These seats are absolutely comfortable. Nice stitching, the stripes, backrest, nicely bolstered. These seats are absolutely cushiony. You can see the design right there for the SuperBee with his helmet and wheels. That's cute, actually. I have the seat adjusted to where I like it, and thigh support is right on par. I can't complain at all when it comes to thigh support. Lots of shoulder room. You guys can see, very wide. B-pillar is nicely recessed. It really contours nicely along with the door panel evenly, so you won't ever bump into anything. Armrest also within reach, even though I'm a tall driver. So the only issue I noticed right now was just leg room over here, because the transmission hump is a little bit on the wide side, but the center stack over here does not intrude at all, so it won't ever be a problem. So I guess leg room is just tolerable. Now, the interior was updated in the 2011 Dodge Charger, and it really is a huge improvement over the 2010 model, which was just disaster. Qualities in that car were just mediocre, interior quality. Now we'll start off over the dashboard. It is nicely padded. It is it's more of a rubbery feel to it. You know, it feels like you're hugging a car tire. And I will admit it does have a rather bland look to it. I would have wished for something a little bit more attractive. And also, once you look at the grain, it looks as if it were dirty, you know, as if there's like dust or dirt within the grains of the dashboard, you know. I don't know if you guys can see what I mean. It doesn't look like it were a clean dashboard. That's in other words. So, but despite those drawbacks, it's an improvement over the old one. You go down, nicely padded, even towards the center stack over here. Everything here is nicely padded towards the sides. The finish really isn't that good. You can see how it's just quite uneven towards this side and towards the driver's side as well. You can see how it just protrudes a little bit right there. Now going over to the glove box, very large. You have a little tray up above to store your books. It was damped. It only has a single latch over here, so I would have thought that something like this would have had dual latches on each side, so it won't flap around. Again, damped. And you saw what I mean. It flapped around. It's nice and tight towards there, even here. It seems to open up towards this side, so that's the problem with not having dual latches, and you can see how it just opens up right there. So that's not very nice. They left that out. Up here, we have vehicle infotainment. It's a radio, actually, and climate control display. Very nice, vibrant display, but I do find that it's quite small. This does have the Uconnect system, by the way, so it does have hands-free controls, has auxiliary, Bluetooth, USB connectivity, all of those things. Let me see if I can show you that. Player, there you go. USB, Bluetooth, aux, and disc. System settings such as the clock, safety, lighting inside the interior, outside temperature, compass. Turn off the screen if you don't want to see it. I do admit that it's a rather smallish display, so I would recommend that you option this car with the navigation system, because it will have a huge display that would probably take this entire square. As is, it just looks so tiny and out of place, and you have this pocket here which makes it look like an aftermarket system, you know, like when you adapt an aftermarket radio, where you have the radio up here and then a big little pocket down there. So, well, the radio is on. Let me show you at least how it's actually a touchscreen, by the way. Let me at least adjust the sound. I want to give you a little demo how it sounds like. Equalizer. Let's bring up the bass a little bit. I love bass. Bring it down a little bit. You can actually move it down over here along with your finger. It lags a little bit, but it's not bad. So it's actually pretty good. It's tolerable. Again, this is the Alpine audio system, by the way. Here's the climate control. It is dual zone. It will show up there in the display. Very colorful. I love that. On each side. Hazards. Stability control on this side as well. In-CD. Little tray down below. Power outlet. At least it doesn't have a shiny plastic or any piano black finish over here. So this, I like this actually. Here's one drawback, and it's the 5-speed automatic. This is a very old gearbox. It originated from Mercedes, but in 2012 car, I think it should have had at least an 8-speed automatic, or even a 6-speed, because gearing is very tall in this transmission. I mean, if you were to watch videos of this car performing online, it would accelerate as if it were a 4-speed automatic with those tall first and second gears. So that's just one little drawback here. It does have manual shift mode, by the way. You can use this or the paddles on the steering wheel. Dual cup holders, a bit small. They are lit, by the way, the little ring around it has the chrome finish. Closes up if you don't want to see that. Center console is sure-footed. It does not jiggle around. The lid is a little bit jiggly. You guys can see. Down here we do have the aux and USB connectivity. Power outlet. Nice, cool, nice little blue ring in there. So it is rather large in there. Armrest is padded nicely with the exposed stitching. Steering wheel nicely thick, leather wrapped all the way around, perforated leather inserts in here towards each side. Side bolsterings, massive. You even have them down here as well. It's just so thick, I love it. Hands-free controls, vehicle info, you can see the system settings, back button, just about everything you want to see in there. Trip computer, you'll get to everything in there. Cruise control towards this side, again paddles on each side. Radio controls are behind the steering wheel, by the way. It's always been a Chrysler thing to have the buttons right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. This is actually volume. You can see it working. And to change the radio stations, I can just feel on the other side as well over here. Steering wheel does tilt and telescope. It is damped, as expected. Turn signal lever and wipers at intermittent speed. Dispatch the trunk. Panel dim for the interior lighting. Just about everything there. Headlamps. You push the button for fogs. Automatic headlamps, once you turn it that direction. This over here, this cover, rather grainy plastic. You can see the finish there. Not very nice. Push on, push off for the e-brake. Dispatch the hood right there. Materials on the door panel. Also padded just like the dashboard. Same material. It's more rubbery than anything. The side padded with nicely with this vinyl. It's like a glove. Armrest as well. Door locks, window lock. Both front windows, auto up and down. Not the case for the back windows. You also have power mirrors. Down below, back to the cheap plastics right there. So that's a downer. They did very well up here, but totally missed out down below. Has a sharp edge, very grainy. Fuel filler disc latch. You can see up here, Alpine sound system. A-pillar, nicely coated with this cloth. The gaps are very minimal. I don't know if you guys can see. It does seem to poke out a little bit. Yeah, it's very dark. There's the passenger side. It's actually quite tight. It's just a very thick. I guess it's because of the coating on top of the A-pillar. Everything's fine in back as well. On the C-pillar headliner. It is quite plush. Feels pretty good. Ocean handle. Damped. Spring is concealed, so that's pretty good. Map lights. This is very creaky and brittle. I can just feel it. Here, the holder for the sunglasses. Also very badly made, surprisingly. Looks like they carried it over from the older cars. Very bad quality, and look at this. This is what holds it up. These little things always break over time, so this is not going to last that long, that holder. Here's the rearview mirror. I'm quite sure it dims. You can see a little sensor in there. Very large. sun visors, mirror and vanity light. Slides out, and you also have the shade. Same deal for the driver. Mirror and vanity light. So that's quite good. It is plush and very thick, by the way, so it's very sturdy. Forgot to mention that. Materials do carry over into the back seat when it comes to the door panel. Identicals up front, so nothing worth stressing there. Here's the rest of the back seat. Very attractive. You guys can make out. Though, I will stress that the roof line does swoop down quite low, so you do have to duck your head when trying to get into this back seat, as I am right now. Again, I had this seat adjusted to where I like it, and look at the room to spare here. So legroom is just excellent, actually. And thigh support also on par. Very high seating position, and it's tilted nicely, so you can see I'm supportive. I can't even stick my hand right there. So this is a comfortable back seat for any passenger, even tall drivers and tall passengers all the way around. But there's the rest of the interior. Very nice, very clean looking. Back of the center console, we also have the AC right there. Power outlets. Over here, we're going to have the armrest, which is nicely padded, very cushiony. Cup holders, nice and large. And again, we have some little lights right there, so that's also very thoughtful. And the seats are 60/40 split fold. Pull on this little cord over here, this little strap. So it folds down with ease. No headrest to remove because it's integrated on the backrest, which is also a great idea. Not pokey and you don't have to remove anything. It's a very attractive rear end. It's very nice once you see these cars at night because this entire thing lights up. This is actually a ring all the way around with LEDs, and it's very bright at night. Trunk, very large. Let me back out a little bit. Hinges are concealed. I mean, even though it doesn't have struts, they are stashed to the side like a German car, and it won't intrude with any cargo if you have this trunk packed to the max. But again, capacity is very good. In here, you have a little cargo net, light to the side. This does not use a spare tire, by the way, it just has a compressor, so this car likely came stock with run flats. Battery right there. So that's the trunk. Let's close it. It's a 6.4 liter overhead valve V8. It's the Hemi 392 cubic inch. Makes 470 horsepower and 470 foot-pounds of torque at 4,300 RPM. So this car is a rocket, no doubt. It's just pure brutality. Smooth running engine. Looking like an old school push rod V8. And look at the grading of the oil that it asks for. 0-40. It's almost like this thing begs for water as motor oil. Very thin. So YouTube, before concluding this tour, this is a car that I actually do enjoy. I mean, there are quite a few things that I would have wished better, such as little touches around the interiors up there, very low rent. Maybe the gearbox, I would have loved maybe a manual option or even an automatic with more gears to it. Other than that, there's really not much more that you can ask to improve over what Chrysler delivered here. I mean, I guess, I don't know if it's fair to compare this car against the Mercedes E63, because that's a much more luxurious car. I guess a car that would compare better would be the Chrysler 300C, as it's a much more luxurious car. This one's more inexpensive and applies more to a car that's just sporty both in and out, versus the Chrysler is sporty but luxurious, which is what the E63, for example, is. Another car quite similar is the Taurus SHO, which has a much better interior, and it has the EcoBoost V6, which is a kick-ass engine, but This car is just pure old school fun over here. I mean, you just have a rocket engine under that hood that will just make sounds that will just make you giggle. I mean, it's just that good. A Taurus show will not sound that sexy. But anyways, YouTube, I hope you enjoyed the tour of this 2012 Dodge Charger SRT-8 SuperBee.
Yeah, here's some legal stuff for you. The views and opinions expressed in the following video may not necessarily reflect those of the title-holding automotive dealer or the entity they represent. All videos are filmed with permission by a professional driver on a set course with the collaboration and assistance of local law enforcement authorities. Do not attempt. Logos and brandings of vehicle manufacturers, dealerships, and online social media sites are the sole property of their respective representation used with permission. The Redline logo, soundtrack, and web resources, as well as all other associated media, are copyrighted intellectual property of To The Redline LLC. All rights reserved.